Just want to give you an overview of how to manage vector brushes in the Brushes Studio. One thing that's worth bringing to your attention is that the vector brushes are purely dealt with in the vector persona, whereas raster brushes are dealt with in the pixel persona. So the brush sets are completely different, even though the methods for creating and sharing the brushes and editing them are very similar. So first of all, you'll be able to import brushes by just going to Brushes Studio, just tapping the little button at the top there with the lines on it, and just selecting Import Brushes. Select my vector brushes, and you see these 4 new brushes have been added to the document, imported from a separate AF brushes file. But I can also create a new category. We'll just tap the button again at the top, say Add Category, and we'll rename it as Extra Vector Brushes. And we've got an empty category there, and in there we can create a new brush. And we've got several options here. We've got New Solid Brush, New Textured Intensity Brush, and New Textured Image Brush. I'm going to choose a simple New Solid Brush. And we'll set a width of, say, 75, just to adjust the brush slightly. And that's our first brush in that category. Now, if I wanted to then navigate away from there to a different vector brush, I can just say select this one here. But what I want to do is just a long press on there and select duplicate. That creates a copy of the brush down here in readiness for me editing it separately from the preset. So it's really good practice to do this rather than overwriting your existing presets. And I'll show you by moving it into a different category, you can control all of your custom brush assets together. So we'll long press on here, and now we'll be able to edit the brush from the flyout by choosing Edit. And again, just for expediency, I'll just set a width of 75, and perhaps we'll change this value to 60. And then close this down by clicking OK. And that's created this brush copy here. If I long press on that brush copy, I can then move to, the very bottom option, move to Extra Vector Brushes. Okay, so let's just go back to check the brush category. They're the brushes that we imported, and these are the brushes that we've created as in a custom category. So say we'll just take this brush copy here, and we've got the vector brush tool selected, and I want to just adjust some of the settings on here just to get a different kind of a brush stroke, the width, and we'll drop the opacity down there just to change the general appearance. I'll just bring that width up a little bit, just to kind of like add some brush strokes to the design. But what I want to do now is to save this particular brush settings that I've got here that are active by tapping on More, and then just tapping the Save option down at the bottom left. And this should save it to my current category, and then we have it, Brush Copy 2. So what I'll also be able to do is to export these brushes that I've created by just going back up to this button at the very top, just tapping it, saying Export Brushes, and then choose the Brushes folder in this instance by tapping it, and then tapping Add to add it to the folder. I'll replace the file which was already there initially.